Freedom. In April 2022, the government of Jamaica finally released the country from the shackles of COVID-19 lockdowns and curfews. All were excited, especially the Star fam. Hi, I'm Jaleen, and this is the 2022 Star Year in Review. 2022 was filled with many highlights, and I have helped to discuss the top 10 stories read by the Star fam. Joining me on set are two special guests, Star reporter Roxroy McLean.
Hello, Jolene.
And dancehall recording artist Pampity. Let's get into it. So the top 10 story for this year is A Taste of Jamaica, Vacationing American adopts island home, serving up healthy juices. Now this story is of a traveling nurse and a nutritionist who came to Jamaica to visit and after 1 week made Portland her home. Alright guys, so let's get into it. So 1 week and she fell in love with Jamaica and she now has a juice business.
Well, you see Jamaica, Jamaica sugar stick them is very sweet and nice.
Yeah. Sugar cane we're talking about?
We're talking about sugar cane, right?
Sugar cane. Yeah. And that's what she fell in love with.
Yeah, man,
and that's what she's making her juices with.
Yes.
And that's what her... So
there is no place like Jamaica. And when I came here, I originally came on vacation. I came here for a 1 week vacation. And something just kept telling me, this is where you're supposed to be, girl. Like, you're supposed to stay here.
Do you think the country is on a path of developing though, that we are taking in new persons and not just returning residents who are coming home and want to stay here? Do you think we are on the path?
Yes, man.
For that?
We're developing real good. Yes. No, it needs a big change. We can see. I mean, I have to explain everything, but we can see the whole political changes. Sometimes things now go the way like, oh, you don't want it, or me don't want it, but only political changes.
So you would recommend anybody who's thinking about making Jamaica their home, the returning residents, if they want to, people who are in the diaspora
why not?
To come back
of course.
Home,
Of course. Sometimes you have to just know, see us. And we would even say, I mean, that's what you say right now, mix with the right set of people. But sometimes you feel that the person is the right set and then them just change and all of that. But you have to just know how we are move. And them say we're right and they make a left and all of that and try to live good and stay on the right side and focus.
Money can make a Jamaica.
Half whole heap of money can make a Jamaica. Whole heap it can make.
Yeah. And there's a room for improvement.
Of course, it can go on. You have to, as I say, you have to just focus and know where you want and work on where you want, how you want things to go.
Yeah.
Okay. 23-year-old Emil Clark was killed after he was run over by a bus he was traveling on, plus a bus following behind. Now guys, this is a hard death.
Why, Jolene, I was one who did that story and I tell her it
was rough.
It wasn't nice.
It's really wicked still, but as when me hear, him tell him mother say I'm gonna die young and all of that. One thing me I tell people right now, speak positiveness over your life.
But in fairness, James, he did have sick.
Oh, probably that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But sometimes too, you have to speak positive, man. You can't look much people have sickle cell same way or whatever. I don't want the sickle cell kill him still. But I'd rather spin destiny that still.
Your mother just say always say, no man, you're gonna live long, man.
Can't see it in a sickle cell kill him.
That's true.
But really wicked, Jaja.
It also brings to the forefront the accidents that we have on our road. I think probably by the time this video is here, if we're not close to 500, we're very, very close to 500 road deaths, caused by accident. And we'll say it's a road accident, but the other day a bus driver with over 100 tickets, caused an accident on Constant Spring Road. And that kind of brings to light the kind of drivers that we have on the road, reckless driving.
I'm not afraid to talk. That's something I ever talk. If you can drive in Jamaica, you can go anywhere in the world and drive. Because I tell you see, them a taxi man and them a bus man, yeah? Yeah, man, them deal with it a way, man.
What's the advice to passengers in taxis and bus where the drivers, them are drivers if them are carry on?
Honestly, you have to talk up.
Yes.
You have to talk up or stop and make me come out driver. You have to talk up. Some people just sit down and nah, so me not care who. Whether any vehicle me in and me feel like I go too hard, I say, oh, it's foreign anywhere me there. You have to take time. That's some me stay.
I agree with you.
Yeah, you have to talk up, drive up, then me I pay you my money for you, go kill me half, I pay for that.
Remember that?
Come on, man.
That high-speed chase in a St. Andrew.
Yes.
And the people in my bar,
Yes.
the police have to shoot for them actually stop.
I'll in something.
I not sit down and no taxi and just let nobody drive like half like
Go on, yeah.
So now we are at number 8, lost in woods for 3 days. A Clarendon man said that he had no choice but to eat lizards, tree roots, and drink smelly water in order to survive. So guys, as I said, this Clarendon man, he got lost in woods that he would have been familiar with. He said he was familiar with, you know, from he was a boy to a grown man. But something happened that particular day and he went lost. I think it was about 3 days, and you know, they searched and searched until they were able to find him. But just to survive, he had to eat lizards, drink smelly water, and eat tree bark. Now I just wanted to tell me, if you were in that situation, Pam, what would have been some of the survival tactics that you would have utilized?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know if you go tell you now. Cause thinking about the lizard for me go eat and the dirt too. I don't know, probably not pass out.
What about you?
I don't know how I survive. I don't know.
Yeah, eat it still.
So you want to say, could find like a apple, leave a little ackee to
No,
cook
it
one
was
go
woodland,
no look
thick
fruit.
woodland area, Clarendon.
Jamaica?
No, look up
No,
orange,
man, him
no.
too much. I didn't want to eat that.
Say that
You
right.
can't tell me that. Even look at one orange tree, stand there, Clarendon have them tree, they're jimbling.
Nothing.
Star apple,
Look
come
at
on,
green
man.
mango,
No,
nothing.
man, in Jamaica this, you know.
Well, him say was
Nobody never
woodland.
get eat for hungry in
So me-
Jamaica. Nobody can't tell me that.
It's
I
a
him
baby.
want to eat that. Probably have some little people in my mind that tell him, say, yo, eat a lizard. Eat a roach.
So
Drink some
maybe
dirty
no
water.
fruit trees were around, but he said that's what he had. Like, let me give you 3 options. If you had between a lizard, a frog, because them say we eat frog leg, and maybe like a,
Yeah.
give me another animal, like a rat. You see people eating rat. What would you pick if you had to choose one?
When I time when the hungry lick me still, you know, and a nice size lizard come across there, we just make sure have him for a little meal, you know, a small meal that still.
The rat part rough, you know. Me work with the frog still.
I think I work with the frog
Me
too.
work with the frog.
Wow, I would die.
Spring
I would
chicken.
absolutely
me work with the
die.
spring chicken. The rat
Guys,
part.
I am definitely terrified of frogs. So I'm just putting that out there. So if you know you see me, don't use against it. But I think I would
See,
absolutely
like you
die.
go with the lizard doing the journey.
I would have to go with the lizard.
No.
because
No, me
No,
can't.
I prefer the frog. Hey, see what the fuck them have some leg will look like
You could have passed
wing,
the
you know,
chicken wing.
chicken wing, you know.
Yeah, you could have passed it.
But I mash up a frog
Which
leg.
part of the lizard me I like to eat? Me don't see no
Just
part.
one
Yes,
go.
I just see the frog leg, me would mash up frog leg. But not in the belly part, but the frog leg.
The lizard
Yeah,
is
me
so
think so.
small.
You can't
It's
even
just.
treat the belly part of the frog like a crab, you know.
We don't know about the belly, you know. But I try the leg, you know. But I try the frog leg.
No rat, no lizard, sorry.
Alright,
No, that's so.
it's safe to say Pampite and Roxroy would survive. I would probably die, but you know, that's it. You would have to find me and just have a nice funeral for me. Moving down to Montego Bay, number 7 on our countdown. Thrice as nice, triple love. A man and his 2 lovers living in Montego Bay made headlines for their polygamous relationship, and the Star fam could not get enough. So now, guys, I mean, we know some things happening in Jamaica that we don't always see or hear about, but this brave throuple, you know, decided to come out and share with the Star how they are living a polygamous lifestyle. They have children. Both the women have children for the men, and they all live under one roof down in Montego Bay. Now tell me, sexual relationships or sexual taboos, what are your views, Pam?
Jaja. Why? I don't know if me could have do it.
You're not sure you could share? It's not something that you're interested in. You think if somebody approached you with it, it's a no-no.
Me not think me coulda live with the next female and my husband and me and her mate. I was good. Me not think me coulda do it.
Rox?
And it's not like say it's a one time something and she gone go for her business and me and my man still there. Me not think me coulda do it.
No, the situation.
I live in something that
Live
I don't like
in.
a fun them I have for a little time and then she gone go for her business and I have my man back with me and then him alone and the picking them. No, sir, I can't manage it. It's too much. I want big, heavy load that.
How they explained it, So Roxroy was in a relationship with you. You were in a relationship for a couple years. After a couple years, you approached me and you started to like me, introduced me to Roxroy. He fell in love with me as well. And then we all decided to become a couple, and that's how they are living their lives now.
Well, them can't them like the situation and them love it. Well, them go ahead and do what them want to do, but me don't know, my stomach, my chest not so strong. You know, you that like coffee, me that like tea, and I'd say, but everybody live them life. Me not bash them, not nothing. But me not think me so strong. That's strong like Cersei and sing the Bible and strong.
You say you don't prepare the stomach for manage something like
Me
that.
not so strong.
Roxroy, you think you could have managed two, man?
Him could have managed a man.
Boy, here's the thing, when I see the story, I say, yo.
King life.
That man, you know, but you don't know me weird at that now because I don't want to give her no ideas. Now, what if one day she said to me, say, I like a man too.
Yeah, we can bring it
Because
in.
that's straight no for me, you know. No two man I know whatever that no. So
you said the roles were reversed, it's not the
no,
same.
we cannot agree to that.
There's a question: which one do you love more?
Right. We always
We don't measure love. Love is love.
We are now at number 6 on the countdown. St. Thomas woman explains why she housed Davian Bryan. A top story from 2021 re-emerged in March of 2022 when the Star interviewed the woman who was housing Davian Bryan, a St. Thomas man charged with kidnapping and raping 2 young girls. Now guys, this story captivated, just like how the past and his cult down in Montego Bay captivated us in 2021. This story was the whole of St. Thomas, people from Kingston, people from all over the island went to St. Thomas to search for these 2 girls.
I remember seeing images where people piled up in the back of the police jeep.
Looking and trying to lend assistance. Now we met up with this woman who she housed him before the incident, so probably a couple weeks or a month before he kidnapped the girls. She housed him because his sister had asked for some assistance based on his bail conditions in St. Thomas. He needed to be housed outside of the parish, and this woman accepted him into her home. She also had a young a granddaughter there. I believe she was 6-year-old. We just want to talk about vulnerable groups, women and the children. When we think about that case, what comes to mind?
That was a hard one. Me have to really wonder if the lady did know something, or I don't know, or if this man and her in a little relationship too. I think a whole heap of little things. Because she can't tell you anything, She can't tell you anything and say, her sister and him a friend, but it can be a case where she and him all there too.
Well, I never hear that angle, but according to her, she only knew about the gun charges. She didn't know about the rape charges that were brought against him from before.
Judge her, she can also never know either. But if she really knew about everything, she and God, because she can't hide from God, Because sometimes when karma take them wicked, So all them sit down and them do all different type of things and I hide from mankind and feel like say, yeah, one thing with karma might not everybody do, because you have good karma, you have bad karma. So you be careful what you do in life, because it will come back by you.
So this also brings up the point of our sex offenders registry. Do we think the government needs to look into making that public? Because maybe if we had one of that, could have seen that Davian was listed as a sex offender, and she wouldn't have housed him.
Yes, I agree, because there are many times when persons who have committed sexual offences against children elsewhere,
different country,
can come out here and operate as normal, can even have a different career, and you don't know. And almost every single industry, every single profession, you have to deal with children.
I'm glad that you say a different country, because in Norwood, probably 3-4 weeks ago, they captured a man who came from somewhere in the US, and he was a sexual offender in the US, and he was living in Norwood amongst people for almost 10 to 12 years, and they had no idea this nice little white man was a sexual offender and listed as a sexual offender in the United States. And they were saying he's very handy, he was working in the church and all of that, very helpful in the community, and they had no idea. And it's when the the police from overseas came to Jamaica to extradite him, they realized that this man was caught up in something like that. But I do believe as well that we do need a sex offenders registry, and I hope the government, it is something that is being tabled. We don't know. Let's see if it's something that comes up in 2023.
Yes, because we need to know. Because sometimes you just see some people just appears to be, oh, he's so nice, but when they check for him background or for your background, oh my God.
While we're on the topic of violence against women and children, we all can remember the Clarendon massacre, where Rushane Barnett murdered 4 children and their mom in Cocoa Peace, Clarendon. Now guys, this was a gripping story. I remember for weeks I was on the point of being depressed, just couldn't believe that one person could be, so whatever it was, cruel to murder 4 children and their mom. And in the way that it was done, they were stabbed several times. The youngest, I believe, was just like a year and a couple months. Now, Rushane Barnett is baptized, he's in prison, and he was baptized the other day, I guess seeking some sort of salvation. You know, how do we look at this as a country? Like, that case rocked the country. Pam, as a mom, I always have to go back to you as a mom.
Yo, man, I feel depressed. Just talking about it, I feel depressed right now.
I feel uncomfortable about that.
I don't know, boy, Father God, I left everything in your hands. I don't know, because who is me now for God judging right now, Lord?
I mean, as a mainly Christian, Christian nation, and what we believe in, you know, as the word, you know, salvation belongs to God and that man.
No, so you just do all of them something, and you just got turn Christian.
That's how I feel uncomfortable, because even when I talked to the grandmother after, and she was like, she forgive him, and you know, she spoke to God and asked God to speak through him, and while I listened to her, and I said, but he just killed 5.
I mean, it's the faith.
We don't know if they get no chance. What if they never get a chance?
They never get no chance. They say, be a little baby.
I'm comfortable with
that. Comfortable too.
They always say.
They have to just put it in God's hands. I just that me have to say, boy, I'm not talking about this. Like inside of my belly feel hot. I don't know if you ever feelings there.
It's so controversial, but this faith thing, it just don't sound sensible to me. It don't sound sensible to me. Because why am I gonna forgive? Why him forgot even know? After him just killed 5.
As me I say, we know God. We can say all the way I say, but me don't know God know everything best.
Kimisha was studying to become a nurse. She helped him. She opened up her home.
Then I try to tell him you protect your energy, your space, your peace, but something you don't even know. Can you help out some people and them see it more and you just talk about?
I'm comfortable with this baptized and probably can't go even now.
Along the lines of the vulnerable group, we are halfway at the countdown with number 5, teen killed for his cell phone, and also our number 4 story, which is a follow-up for this story. His parents got married weeks after. Kenute Williams was murdered in March for his cell phone and $1,000 of lunch money weeks before his parents were to be married. Now guys, it's a very sad story. It's another story that Roxroy worked, and he was a report on this story, so I mean he can take us into it, but it's very sad. As I said, we're still dealing very much with the vulnerable groups being targeted in Jamaica, which are children and or women. That's right.
When I interviewed the mother, right, I was halfway into the interview when it changed totally. It was just about the murder itself, you know. When she got the news, how she got the news. And then she started to cry. And I said, what's wrong with me? And she said, you know, it's just last night, 9 o'clock. I ironed his suit for a wedding because we're supposed to get married on Saturday. And I was like, wow. And it totally changed. The story, the interview, everything. And for the first in a very, 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 very long time, Pankoti and Jolene actually cried during an interview. It was very, very, very hard to deal with.
Feel some type of way you're talking about it now. My inside just feel away, just imagine. And I heard that is their only child.
Is their only child.
So I may tell you sometime.
I mean, you're a mom of two boys. Imagine one day sending your
For $1,000 more.
Well, as you know, as you were saying, it was a rough case, as Roxora explained, especially for the parents. Also, I was saying, you know, he was just going to school. It's a normal. He was on Ligani Avenue, probably 10 minutes from his school. He was a Papine High School student. I remember the days when I used to walk home from school down to my grandmother's shop before we went home, and I can vividly remember. I'm walking home by myself, my sister is walking home by herself, but it was time for my little sister, who was 6 years younger than me. We had to go and pick her up. And now more than ever, you see children, people can't basically send their kids on the road anymore to do anything.
True.
You have to be watching them, pee, cluck.
And walking to and from school was a norm for him. And he was doing it from primary school days. You know, he went to New Providence Primary, I think. And he would walk, go home, and he'd walk to school. So it wasn't something that the mother nor the father wasn't aware of, you know. And then the saddest part about it, you know, is alleged killers are also teenagers.
I mean, we have a problem, I would say, because you say it's teenagers who allegedly murdered a teenager, and we see that we have a problem where we say from the root. And we're hoping in 2023 that the government of Jamaica, you know, offers some assistance in any way to fix the crime and violence problem that we have. Now, we can't do a 2022 year in review and not have an honorable mention of the Tell Me Pastor column. Every year, Pastor Dumas surpasses the readers' expectations with the stories that our readers write in with. This story is Boyfriend's Tool is Too Big. A 25-year-old woman in the church posed a tricky scenario to Pastor Dumas. She had recently started dating a man and discovered his tool was too big. She recounts, "This man invited me out and I saw what I did not expect to see. This man's third leg is so long that I could not look at him for long. He tied down his third leg to one of his legs." Here we are with a woman, she's in the church, she's a pastor's kid, as they call them, PKs. And she met a man in the church, they started dating, and she realized that his third leg was too big. And she wrote into Pastor Dumas for some advice. She said she was scared, she's not sure she could get onto marrying him, you know, if they would divorce after because it was too big. Pam, what say you? Can you angle it or?
Me don't know until me get it. Me don't know, but at the end of it, I'm certain I want it little though. It can alright, but I don't want it too little.
So I think she said that his was 9 inches. She said that was too big. I think that...
I know, no, for she, it depends. And sometimes it can big, but it don't have that strength there in it. You understand what I say? So sometimes the biggest you have to worry about it. And sometimes it's not that big and it kind of look but it's effective. I have some things big but it come like sweet pepper. Big and not hot.
Spice, or you know, one of her favorites at the start, she came out with a song earlier in the year called Tape Measurement, and it broke the internet. If you haven't seen it, I'd encourage you to go and look for the video, Tape Measurement by Spice. So this woman now, she has a problem. A lot of times you hear women, they say, you know, they want something big, they want something where them can, you know, manage, as Pam just said, if it's too little. So do you think it's like a little hype? They kind of boast and say them can manage it and them can get it, them can deal with it. And when they're finally faced with it, they can't handle it.
Honestly, that's why I'm not going to tell you a lie, I tell you the truth. I don't believe in married and then sex after. I want this thing here first. I want to feel this thing here. I want to test this thing here before I married. Cause I don't want to get up and go married you, don't want then. When me married you, when I time now for this thing in the night there and something, nothing not working. Then the next thing again, it maybe I work, I can't manage it or whatever. You know, vice versa.
Roxora, as a man, I don't know anything about you, sir, but I'm just saying, for some men who maybe be well endowed, you know, how you don't think some of them know to manage themselves, then is that like a... I say I take too long to answer.
I mean, say what thing for. You see what me say, I eat what thing for.
I mean, it, yes, you You can't.
Actually, I blush.
You can't.
Y'all look at the blush.
No, but I think off our footage.
No, you know.
You can handle yourself. You can handle yourself. You know, and it's whether it's big or it's small. You know, a lot of time you hear a woman say, "Why? The man that look something big work better than the one that big something," you know, and vice versa. So I think that you can handle yourself.
Yeah, and as it big and the thing them, you must can make you feel a little pleasure, make you feel good. We know how it going on, because sometimes it act nice.
It
act nice. So you know as the man know how to fix things to make me feel good. So if you have something, if your tool is very big, you must know how to gauge and pace and pattern and catch over this and make me feel nice and whatever. Me don't want you just come on and boom 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 boom. I know ya. You understand what I say? Me no depend that. So you know as a man, you have to know how to angle the tool. Because the tool can big and nice, you know, and the tool can small and sweet.
I like that. Big and nice, small and sweet.
Hot and nice too.
Alright guys, we are number 3 on the countdown. Oh my god, we're number 3, we deserve a drum roll. Poor St. Catherine family in viral video receives assistance. The Tuckers went viral due to a documentary-style YouTube video which explored the extent of their financial difficulties, including having no meat on the table for 6 months and being without electricity and water. Alright guys, so that story with the Tucker, as we said, it went viral last year. You know, this YouTuber did a video with the land and it was so touching. And I mean the help that family got. I don't think I've ever seen any story that was published or put up by anyone receive so much help. And it brings up the point of like when is I don't want to say enough is enough, but it got to a point when, you know, people were going back to do kind of review videos and just do update videos. They were saying the family at some point seem ungrateful.
I think, you see, because the Tucker family, they were destitute for so long, and then in the blink of an eye, you know, things started to come. So maybe they could also be uncomfortable with the attention and the influx of support and love. Who knows? Maybe they
and
were
probably
trying to.
them used to it too, like they must say, you know. I don't know. I just don't
Who knows
want to put
how
on
long
nobody.
they were trying to get help before help came, you know, and then all of a sudden everything at once.
Just come. Well, I feel them blessing that, you know. So them have to know how to deal with it. You know, I tell you sometimes when blessing come and children know how to deal with it, we fall back. And that's the thing. So when you see a blessing, you have to know how to deal with it, how to approach it, and how to make it continue.
But it's difficult though. It's difficult though when you're trying to help somebody or for a charity to ensure that the right people get help. It's very difficult.
Tell you something. Sometimes some people in some spots are desperate for them to stay. God put them there to stay there. The ways them what them have and how them stay, and that's for them to stay. So you go there try to help them, and I do this and I do that, and be all those just to tumble down on you. So sometimes when we help somebody, I pray about it. Because I tell you this, you have to protect your energy, your space, and your peace, and everybody to get help.
I think that's a word for 2023. Protect your
energy, your space, and your peace.
And your peace.
Because it's wicked when you go give some people your energy and they're not real.
Number 2 on the list, Leah Tavares Finson and her forbidden love. Christopher Dog Paul Linton, a reputed gangster, captured the heart of an uptown sweetheart, Leah Tavares Finson, the daughter of Senate President Tom Tavares Finson and former beauty queen Cindy Breakspear. Dog Paul was killed by the police some 6 months after being released from prison. Now, from as long as I can remember, that name, Christopher Dog Paul Linton, I'd known it, and you know, as I said, for as long as I remember, brought to me by the news as a known violence producer, alleged known violence producer, and he fell in love with Leah Tavares Finson, the daughter of Tom Tavares Finson and beauty queen Cindy Breakspear. And it brings to the forefront, people always say, you know, the uptown girl, them love the downtown man, I love the gangster them. You know, Pampite is a woman of dancehall. You know, you've seen practically probably all of it. You know, what do you think about this love story?
I tell you, love no partial nobody, you know. And no care how bad they be, no care how good they be. Everybody need and want love. And no care how bad a person be, somebody there where them are gonna show love, and somebody there where gonna love them. So, not because this man here is a murderer or him a bad man or whatever, that don't mean say, you know, him have the moments them too. You have a one woman like all she know, run him head red. Cause I don't care about them being here, but one get around them head,
In her tribute to him at his funeral, they share a child together, and she said, though he didn't see that child often, he was always calling, always checking up, protecting the child from afar, following up on homework, doing a thing that
because the lifestyle when him choose, him have to do it that way there. Him have to do it from far, and can't do it near time, he's a bad man.
So
allegedly.
Yes, so when he's a gangster.
Him probably fear him bring that to
yeah, and him don't want to go too near, you understand? Him deal with it like how Corona deal with over there.
Him isolate.
Wicked, yeah. So we love you, but we love you from a distance. You understand? We check for you from a distance.
Sometimes when I hear love stories like them, remember the song Gunman in Sugar, like that.
Yeah.
You think that was the case?
Is it a real thing? Is it a thing?
Yeah, man, it's real, man, but it works for some people, it don't work for some people. Everybody have their moments, everybody have them time with every different situation and how you deal with it. Because that the man that we are talking, good all our experience to the girl, we just talk about it. Say good father, a top lawyer, whatever, and we say that the man is a youngster, whatever, but what? We like keep going. We don't know how it makes you feel. You understand the feelings too, You don't know if when that pass say good just say You understand what I say? So right about now, you have to make some people, you have to make some people, some friends, some family member, book them too. Come let me tell you this, you see, the difference between life and school. Life teaches you in school to learn. That is it. So if you have something, you have to love some people, make them book them too. Everything you have to do, pray for them.
Pampite is giving us a lot of words.
We lead them in the paths of righteousness, but if them don't want to go the way we are going to do, we have to just pray for them until them book them too. Yo, some people, they have to drop 100 times before them learn. They little girl no go there. No move, and them still do the same thing. And when them and them foot broke, them say, all right, I can't sit down now.
Oh my God, I feel so sad, guys. We are at the #1 story on the countdown. This was the most read story for 2022. I'm telling you, one thing, the Star fam, they always surprise me. They'll come and them like the sauce, them love the mix up, and them ask every day, what is Star carry? But 2 years running, our top story has been a human interest story. Unconditional love is only experienced by a few, but for wheelchair-bound Davian Tennant, his wife Sabrina made sure he felt every bit of her unconditional love. Now guys, this was a man who was caught by a stray bullet and he ended up becoming paralyzed. And for months, Sabrina would have walked by a shop, seen him in his wheelchair, and she was admiring him from afar, not saying anything. He would ask for her number, she would say no repeatedly. She would confide in a friend of his to tell him that, she was admiring him. The friend would say it, and he kept on saying, you know what, even though I got her number, I want her to give me her number. And he persisted until he got her number, and they courted for a year before she moved abroad. And they were dating for 9 years, straight through the phone. She's coming back and forth to Jamaica, now they're married, and he's in a wheelchair. Persons question what we would call disabled love. You think you could manage a situation like that?
Honestly, as well, they say love wants something, man. Them say love blind and love this and love that and whatever. Love no pick and choose who for love, So sometimes in some situation, you hear them say, boy, she that him she love, she him love, and so it go. And the feelings, and from this man in a wheelchair, and this man can make you feel good and whatever, and this sugar stick at work. You don't see nothing wrong with it. If I really love him, I push you because some is there. When a man and a woman come together, them heart become one. You understand? Because them say accept the cow, you have to accept the calf. So if this and if she feel, if this man in a wheelchair makes you feel some type of way, why not? If this man can make you reach some place where you never reach yet, or reach some place where you want to reach, why not?
Well, I like how you say reach somewhere like you want to reach, because according to Sabrina, the loving is like no other, and she is very well pleased.
I want to know if him know does him foot something do.
Well, yeah, just him.
That means that sugar sticker work. From sugar sticker work, I don't deal. Because that something is important, you know. That sugar stick.
It's not just about the sugar stick, but also the dedication that you take to take care of somebody who is disabled. Because of course, she'd have to help him out. She's gonna be just his feet are not working. At some time, she'd have to be his feet, you know. So it takes some sort of dedication to be in an interabled relationship. Rockstar,
God bless her too.
My granny did always say one time when my granny always said you can't fight fate and win, and I just think that it is fate for David and Sabrina to be together. Honestly, because remember she meet him after, you know. It's not like they were together for years and she have to adjust. So it's definitely fate. It couldn't be anything else. It's definitely fate.
Alright, Pam. So thank you so much for being our guest. So I want to ask you, the Star Fam want to know what are your plans for 2023?
Oh God.
What they can expect from Pampite?
Right now, whole heap of video, whole heap of new music, whole heap of collab. But I just want them support the Pampite and subscribe to Pampite Viva. Don't just say you like Pampite and not support me, because pay that me see I go on. Them love Pampite and Pampite talk the things there, but you not support me. You not share my music, you not subscribe to my Viva channel. So I beg some subscribers, I beg some support.
Yes.
Yeah man, a whole heap of things that go on, man.
Well, we're gonna expect anything like the 5'9", because that's a big thing for you, Pam. 5'9", Nicki Minaj featuring many other great artists.
Big up Nicki and big up the Skeng, big up the artists them way, the funny and big up Pampute team. I call everybody, I can't call everybody, I remember everybody, but a whole heap of things in store, man. I tell you, I just got on time and hard work and faith.
So Pam, you can just send a New Year's greeting to the Star Fam. They want to hear from you. What do you have to tell them for the New Year?
Hey! I just want to big up all my stars families out there. Big up on yourself. Happy, merry, blessed New Year. Yeah.
That's all the time we have for the 2022 Star Year in Review. Thank you, Pampite and Roxroy, for coming through. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Jamaica Star and Jamaica Star on Twitter. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And down below, leave us a comment and let us know your big story for 2022. From all of us here at the Star, Happy New Year!